I am Schmitt, a member of this church's governing board here at the Unitarian Universalist Church in Reston. Whether you are on Zoom or here in the church sanctuary, we are so glad you are here with us this morning. No matter how old or how young you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, however you identify, and whomever you love, know that you are welcome here. I have 3 announcements this morning. Number 1, join us on Sunday, February 2nd, immediately after the service for our committee fair. This is an opportunity for committees to share what they do and for members to see what kinds of opportunities they might have for participating in our community. All are welcome to attend. Second, Reverend Aileen and Reverend Darcy Lane will be leading a multi-congregation discussion of the book, Loving Our Own Bones, Disability Wisdom and the Spiritual Subversiveness of Knowing Ourselves Whole, on Thursday, January 23rd and February 13th from 2:30 to 3:45 p.m. on Zoom. The topic of how we understand bodies of all kinds is important for all of us as a spiritual practice and a path for justice. All are welcome to join the discussion. You can find a link to register and a plain language copy of the book to download in the e-blast. And lastly, I'm going to brace you for this one. Given the uncertainty of the weather forecast, we will not be holding coffee after the service. If you need to shoot daggers at anyone, I am the person. Yeah, you can do that too, okay? Thank you for letting all of our volunteers and staff get home safely should the snow pick up before service gets out. Okay. And now, let us center ourselves for worship. Please take some deep, quieting breaths with me. Let us enter our time of worship together as we enjoy this morning's prelude.
Our prelude this morning is a South African protest song called Aya Ngena. It's in the Zulu language, and the words mean they are going out, they are coming in, they are all mixed up, they are afraid. And this song was used during the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. So, Aya Ngena.
Gain Good morning. I'm Reverend Aileen Fitzke, and it is my honor to serve this congregation as its minister. Our opening words this morning are from the civil rights activist, lawyer, priest, Polly Murray. She was a pioneer of the civil rights movement. Tear it down, tear it out of the history books, bury it in conspiracies of silence. Fight many wars to suppress it, but it is written in our faces 20 million times over. It sings in our blood, it cries from the housetops, it mourns with the wind in the forests. When dogs howl and will not be comforted, when newborn lambs bleat in the snowdrifts, and dead leaves rattle in the graveyards. And we'll shout it from the mountains, we'll tell it in the valleys, we'll talk about it in miners' shacks, we'll sing about it at the workbench. We'll whisper it over back fences, we'll speak it in kitchens, we'll state it at the White House. We'll tell it everywhere to all who will listen. We will lay siege, let thunder serve our claim. For it must be told, endlessly told, and you must hear it. Listen, white siblings, hear the dirge of history, and hold out your hand. Hold out your hand.
The beautiful hymn in our hymnal, Lift Every Voice and Sing, has a text by James Weldon Johnson and was set to music by his own brother, John Rosamond Johnson. It was first sung by a group of Black school children in a segregated school in Jacksonville, Florida, in the year 1900, in honor of Booker T. Washington. In 1919, the NAACP dubbed this song the African American National Anthem. It is said that this hymn was one of Martin Luther King Jr.'s favorites. In honor of Martin Luther King Jr. and the Black Civil Rights Movement, please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 149, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Voice I'm your worship associate, Andre Comiskey, and our chalice lighting words today are "Justice is our prayer." They are by Rebecca Savage, the senior minister at the UU Congregation of Rockville, Maryland. We gather today with sacred intention to declare that justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. Not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and time again, and we remember all those before us who made beloved community a dream that could be realized. Justice is our prayer. May our time of worship together continue to water the budding trees of our diverse interdependence. May our time of worship give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirit that need to grow and thrive, that embrace equity as a known way of being. Justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. May it be so. Let us worship together.
At UUCR, we have a beloved tradition where we sing our covenant together every Sunday. Love is the spirit of this church. So we invite you to remain seated while we sing our covenant together. And if you are visiting us for the first time this morning, we hope you will accept this song as our blessing to you.
Good morning. Now is the time for all ages. So if any... Are we okay? If anyone is feeling young of body or young of spirit and would like to come forward, please do so. We have some pictures that will be projected up here, so you will want to be somewhere you can see. And we have lots of seats right up on this side. Welcome, everyone. Our story today, and welcome, our story today is by Yolanda Renee King, the granddaughter of Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King. She wrote it last year when she was 15 years old. It's We Dream a World, and it's illustrated by Nicole Tadgel. There's the cover.
Now is the time in our service when we share our joys and concerns so that no one ever has to hold them alone. If you are joining us remotely this morning, you may wish to light a real or virtual candle wherever you are to mark what is in your heart, as members of the in-person congregation place their stones in the water here in the sanctuary. If those of you at home would like to share what is on your heart today in the congregational chat on the screen, please write to all attendees, and please know that what you write will be public. Those at home may then read others' joys and concerns shared in the chat, and then enter into your own time of reflection and prayer. And I invite those present to come forward now and place your stones in the water. Let us be one in prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love that so faithfully animates our creation, we are grateful for this community that is with us in times of both joy and sorrow. We hold in our hearts this morning all those facing any hardship or difficulty, who are grieving or facing illness or disability in themselves, their friends, or their loved ones. In particular this morning, we hold in our hearts and prayers all those who fight for justice in an uncertain world, including all those who marched yesterday in the People's March. For them, we light this candle. Let us take a moment of silence.
As many of you know, in the last 2 weeks, a series of wildfires in LA County have ravaged the area, devastating families, destroying homes, and ruining livelihoods. In order to aid relief efforts in California, all of today's offering, except for pledge payments, which should be clearly marked, will go to the UUA Disaster Relief Fund. Disasters impact our congregations and their communities with increasing rapidity, from natural disasters like wildfires that scorch everything in their path, and hurricanes that bring destructive through winds and water, to widespread human-caused disasters like the collapsing infrastructure we saw in Flint's water crisis. Our congregations, our people, and our communities sustain the impact. Your donation to the UUA Disaster Relief Fund allows the UUA to respond flexibly on your behalf to tragedies that overtake us. You can make your donation at the link in the chat and on your order of service, entering your donation into the UUA Disaster Relief Fund on the online form. You can also write a check to the church with UUA Disaster Relief in the memo and put it in the offering basket or mail it to the church. And of course, you can put cash in the basket as well. Thank you.
When we think of the civil rights movement in America, the first person that comes to mind is Martin Luther King Jr. We are celebrating MLK Day this week. But there are so many more people whose work, time, and dedication set the stage for the civil rights movement. Those whose names are lost to history, even though they were integral to the success of the movement. And particularly the women who fought tirelessly and whose contributions are not widely known. But if they had not done the work that they did, Dr. King would not have been able to do the work that he did. 3 women immediately come to my mind. Rosa Parks, of course, but 2 other women, Ella Baker and Polly Murray, also served crucial roles. The story of Rosa Parks is often told as the story of a weary housewife who became an accidental hero of the movement. Nothing could be further from the truth. By the time Rosa Parks sat down on that bus seat, she had spent almost 2 decades as an activist in the civil rights movement. We often see the civil rights movement of the 1950s as a moment in time. But that moment in time was the culmination of the efforts of an enormous amount of people and multiple moments in time from the end of Reconstruction to its tipping point in the 1950s and 60s. Rosa Parks was born in Tuskegee, Alabama, and grew up in the small town of Pine Level. Her first experience with group action in the cause of overturning unjust systems was in the early days of her marriage to Raymond Parks. In the 1930s, when they first met, he was fighting for justice in the case of a group of boys who had been falsely accused of raping a white woman on a train. The Parkses, along with others, fought against their execution. It was the first time Rosa Parks realized the power of group action to effect justice. She joined the Montgomery chapter of the NAACP in the early 1940s and became branch secretary. In the NAACP, she worked with E.D. Nixon, who had been involved in the Brotherhood of Sleeping Car Porters and was active in labor organizing. Together, they began a campaign for voter registration. In order for Black people to vote in Alabama, they faced many hurdles, including literacy tests, having to have a white person write a letter vouching for their character, paying a poll tax. It took Rosa 3 ties to be able to register to vote. While other chapters of the NAACP didn't tackle particular issues because of the need of their members to remain appearing respectable, the Montgomery chapter, of which Rosa was part, chose issues that were more controversial and dangerous for Black people to pursue. She worked on getting equal justice for women who were raped by white men, who were ignored by authorities. They worked on anti-lynching campaigns. They worked on campaigns to make the justice system more equitable and demanding equal justice for Black people, including working for those who were unjustly accused of crimes. She wrote, "It was hard to keep going when all our efforts seemed in vain." The NAACP also fielded legal test cases in order to overturn segregation on the bus system in Montgomery. All of them were unsuccessful due to certain legal loopholes. One of her neighbors was killed by police for refusing to move to the back of the bus. So when Rosa Parks refused to move on the bus that day, it was not simply the individual action of a tired woman being an accidental hero. It was the calculated decision, knowing that she could face any number of consequences at the hands of police, including death. And her action was a tipping point. It united the Black community of Montgomery into the largest boycott of the bus system in Montgomery that lasted a year. And while a young Black preacher named Martin Luther King, who had just moved to Montgomery, became the face of the movement, It was the tireless work of so many others who had been working for years to make it successful. And though this was what she is known for, Rosa Parks worked tirelessly for civil rights until her death in 2005. Working for Congressman John Conyers in Detroit, she was active in the civil rights movement there, working for equal educational opportunities, ending job discrimination, affordable housing, and prisoners' rights. She was an active and vocal advocate for civil rights causes. And even in her death, she was memorialized as the quiet, tired woman, rather than the active and vocal activist that she was for her entire life. Her biographer, Jean Theoharis, writes that after she died, she was honored in ways that didn't do justice to her life, a life whose had a history of fighting for freedom, or her ongoing belief in the need for the continued struggle. Another important figure in the civil rights movement, who should be a household name but isn't, is Polly Murray. Polly Murray was born in North Carolina in 1910. Even early in life, she noticed the unequal educational opportunities available to her. She fiercely rejected the idea of separate but equal. She came from a well-educated family who prized education as a way of getting ahead. At 16, she moved to New York to attend Hunter College, being only one of 4 Black students at the college, and she studied literature. Graduating in 1933 at the height of the Depression, she found it difficult to find work. She eventually got work with the WPA doing worker education, and she became active in the labor movement of the 1930s. She realized she needed greater skills if she would be, so she could be better equipped as an activist. She applied to Howard University Law School and was accepted. She was the only woman in her class and was largely ignored. However, her graduating thesis on the overturn of the Supreme Court's decision, Plessy versus Ferguson, became the legal argument used by Thurgood Marshall in the Brown versus Board of Education decision to desegregate public schools in the South. In 1945, she bet one of her professors that Plessy versus Ferguson would be overturned in the next 25 years, and she was correct. She would eventually get her doctorate from Yale Law School. She was a prolific writer, and her most successful tool in her activism, she said, was her typewriter. She wrote to FDR in the 30s about not taking a stronger stance on Black civil rights, writing additionally to Eleanor Roosevelt. She and Eleanor became good friends. And in the 1960s, when Kennedy was looking for women to lead a commission on women's rights to be headed by Eleanor Roosevelt, Eleanor made sure Polly Murray was part of that group. Polly Murray would go on to be one of the founders of the National Organization of Women, and her legal work became the basis of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's later legislation for women's rights. In her 60s, she would become the first Black woman ordained in the Episcopal Church as a priest, and in 2017, Yale named her a residential college after her. How many of you have ever heard of Polly Murray? 3. Well, that's at least good. And finally, Ella Baker. The final story of our civil rights women. Ella Baker was born in 1903 in North Carolina. She put herself through high school and college at Shaw University, a historical Black college and university, an HBCU, graduating the top of her class. She moved to New York City and became involved in the Harlem Renaissance movement, finding inspiration in its thoughts, ideas, and intellectual life. During the Depression, she helped start a food cooperative called the Young Negroes Cooperative League. It was meant to create financial stability and find collective ways to seek economic betterment. The economic instability of the Depression eventually made the cooperative unsustainable. In 1940, she got a job with the NAACP, When she was hired, she wrote that the NAACP had just entered a period when there were young people who were joining the staff and who were demanding certain kinds of opening up, which meant going down and working with people, not just having great mass meetings and collecting membership. She traveled all around the country, drumming up membership in branches throughout America. Writes her biographer in her book, Ella Baker and the Black Freedom Movement, Baker's goal was to get more people engaged in local campaigns, confronting social elites, talking to one another in meetings, and a feeling of greater ownership of the organization. Popular participation was the first step in making the association a more democratic, mass-based organization. Baker traveled endlessly and tirelessly all over the country. She was one of Rosa Parks' mentors in the NAACP. Ella Baker would go on to help found and be executive director of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the main organization associated with Martin Luther King and the central coordinating body of the civil rights movement under King. When King wanted to start a youth branch of the conference, it was Ella Baker who brought together student leaders and activists in the movement. It was she who persuaded them to not be affiliated with SCLC, but to form a separate, independent organization. Thus, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, was founded. Ella Baker would go on to mentor the celebrated Congressman John Lewis, Julian Bond, the founder of the Southern Poverty Law Center, Eleanor Holmes Norton, human rights lawyer and congresswoman, among many other young activists. Suspicious of the top-down approach of a single charismatic leader, Ella Baker rather believed in decentralized, community-centered leadership. That is, empowering people from within communities for grassroots leadership. Her motto was, "Strong people do not need strong leaders." She especially believed in empowering women and youth to take leadership roles and worked with working-class communities to train leadership from within rather than relying on an educated elite. Her philosophy and organizational skills were critical to the founding and implementation of the student-led freedom schools in the South. One of her students in SNCC would later describe her as the mortar between the bricks, holding different sectors of the civil rights movement together with tacit strength that was indispensable but invisible. Her goal was never to be a charismatic leader, but to make sure others could learn to be leaders themselves. These three women, Rosa Parks, Polly Murray, and Ella Baker, were leaders who were pioneers ahead of their time, who fought the oppressive structures of race, class, and gender. Polly Murray often said that she was subject to the system of Jane Crow. They fought oppressive structures to effect extraordinary change, and yet their contributions are largely unheralded. How many here have heard of Ella Baker? All right. Their lives are only now being recognized for their contributions they made for liberation. As we remember Martin Luther King this weekend, let us also remember those whose leadership and commitment to the civil rights movement paved the way and built the movement with him. And let us also remember that while we celebrate the triumphs of the struggle, civil rights and voting rights, these triumphs can be conditional. The Voting Rights Act has been stripped recently of some of its power, and we see around us now legislation for voter suppression, the closing of polling places, limiting early voting and other methods that would enable easier access to the voting process for all people. And we see these tactics employed to again disenfranchise the poor, particularly poor people of color. Civil rights is not a moment, but a process, an ongoing struggle to make sure all people have access to what they need to be able to participate in society, to ask crucial questions in places of power, and to be listened to and attended to, and to be able to make a positive difference in their lives and the lives of those in the larger society. I read a quote the other day: "For the oppressed, peace is the absence of oppression. For the oppressor, peace is the absence of resistance." The women I highlighted today believed in the peace as the absence of oppression. Going forward into an uncertain future, what kind of peace do you believe in? Amen, and blessed be.
Before we sing our closing hymn today, we're going to have some special music, which is a video of the song called Ella's Song. It will be sung by Sweet Honey in the Rock and the group Vocal Essence. Ella's Song was written by Bernice Johnson Reagan, a member of Sweet Honey in the Rock, and the text comes right from the written words of Ella Baker. The song will be introduced by the wonderful Issei Barnwell, and she will be inviting us to join in, so it's sort of interactive, so please do get involved in the singing. The words you will be singing are, "We who believe in freedom cannot rest."
This next song that we're going to do with the choir is called Ella's Song. It's named for Ella Baker. Ella Baker was a staunch fighter, a staunch advocate for young people and their involvement in the civil rights movement, one who would sit for hours and listen as young people discussed and debated strategies for how they would move next in whatever direction they decided they wanted to go. These are Ella Baker's words. They were set to music by Bernice Johnson Reagan, Ella's Song.
Now these are some very strong words we're saying here, so it means we need everyone to sing with us. The chorus. I'm going to teach you the chorus. I want you to sing it back to me. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Now, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. That's good, but it's weak. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. There's a lot of freedoms being threatened. Think about it. Here we go. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Good. Now Carol and I will sing the verses, and when it's your turn, come in nice and strong. Ready? Whenever you are. Until the killing of black men, black mothers, sons, is as important as the killing of a white man, a white mother's son. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. No, no, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. You know, that which touches me most is that I had the chance to work with people, passing on to others that which was passed on to me. To me, young people come first. They have the courage of where we fail. And if I could but shed some light as they carry us through the gale, we who believe, come on, we cannot rest. Say it like you know it now. We who believe in freedom. Struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand and fight it is the only way I struggle to survive.
Closing hymn is number 121, We'll Build a Land. So please rise in body or spirit and join us. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from old, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of people so bold. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Come, build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come, build a land, my people we seek. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Our benediction is by the poet Polly Murray. She said she was a poet first and an activist accidentally later on. This is her poem, To the Oppressors. Now you are strong, and we are but grapes aching with ripeness. Crush us. Squeeze from us all the brave life contained in these full skins. But ours is a subtle strength, potent with centuries of yearning, of being kegged and shut away in dark, forgotten places. We shall endure to steal your senses in that lonely twilight of your winter's grief.
We now extinguish this flame. But not the light of hope and truth, the warmth of community, nor the fire of commitment. These we carry forth in our hearts until we are together again.
For our postlude today, we're going to sing together the song by Cliff Hardin, We Will Rise Together. So the words are on the back of your order of service, and they are also on the screen. And this is one of those zipper songs where we're going to replace the word rise with other words as we go along. And we might add some more as well, so just be ready for that. So please rise in body or spirit and join us. Thank you so much for coming today, and we wish you a warm and cozy afternoon.